Hello everyone and welcome back to Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. I should say that this is post-commentary, because unfortunately when I recorded these episodes, this one and the next two as well, I recorded them all in a bunch, I had my recording software set up the wrong way, so it recorded the wrong microphone. Basically I have a fairly good microphone, the one I'm using right now, standing in front of me, kind of like it's on a microphone arm, and it all looks all professional. It's got one of those spider things so it doesn't vibrate and stuff. It's quite good. Anyway, my program sadly defaulted to recording my headset microphone, which is currently not actually in a position to record. It's kind of slid up, so it's not in the way. You know, headset microphones, you can always kind of move them down and up to talk, and then anyway, so that barely picked up anything. You can just about hear what I was saying, but it's so distorted that I could not use that for a video. So post commentary. I have no idea what I was talking about at the time. I think mostly explaining why I'd been gone for so long. As you might know yourself, eventually life gets to you, you get busy, and you just don't have the time for some hobbies anymore, or at least you don't have as much time. So yeah, I'm just basically going through all the missions that are available and trying to pick some up. I don't know which ones I ended up with. I think I may have done Goblin Town. Just sending someone along, I guess. Don't remember. Oh, I may have sent my thief. Yeah. Because of time constraints also, I probably will not be doing the 100% thing I was going to do. I'll still do side missions and main story missions, but all this, grinding out experience and getting all the skills on all the classes, probably not something I'm still going to go for. That would just take way too long, and these days I just don't have that kind of time. I'm quite busy and it's not going to happen, basically. So I'm sorry about that, but life makes fools of us all, I guess. Or time makes fools of us all. Anyway, no idea what I was talking about. Must have been quite interesting. And because it's post-commentary, I will probably not be reading out the dialogue anymore. It'll probably be on screen long enough to read it. If not, pause the video if there's dialogue that goes too fast. But I think because I read most of it out the first time around, I should have it on screen for long enough, basically. More coffee, by the way. I believe this was a side mission, but I also got an optional fight because I was not being careful enough. Which is somewhat interesting, though not really. Yeah. So what it'll be is this episode is a side mission episode, the episode afterwards is a side mission episode, and then is a main mission episode. And these three will all have post-commentary, because as I said, they did not record properly, which was my fault. I should have checked. Basically, I had not recorded Final Fantasy Tactics Advance in, well, quite a while. To paraphrase Wheatley. But, well, no, that's quite a long time. Anyway, that meant my recording software was not set up properly. I did not pay attention to that, so sadly. Okay, that worked out. And I think one of the dispatch missions actually failed. Do not want Hoffman with us. I was gonna say something, but I already forgot. So yeah, I should have checked before recording what I was going to... the settings on my software. Should have checked that. Didn't. Wow, I am being a bit scatterbrained at the moment, I'm sorry. I also think I should not speak so loudly. It gets picked up quite nicely. I can see by my audio recording software. I just use Audacity for post-commentary, because it's just more convenient. I notice if I speak too loudly, it somewhat complains. I think it prefers the audio to stay in the green range, which you can't see, but if I speak really loudly, it kind of goes into orange and yellow, and that means it's a bit too loud. Okay. So this is a new kind of mission, which makes another clan spawn on the map. You can tell they've got kind of blue stuff instead of yellow red stuff. You can notice them quite easily, and you need to move on the same tile as them. Then you'll get a kind of decision. You know, talk to them or fight them usually. In this case, talking to them would have meant paying them money, kind of protection money. That would have been bad. That would have been basically failing the mission, and fighting them is winning the mission. I think there are some cases where it's different, where the talking option is the quote-unquote right way. I'm not sure why I'm doing air quotes. I don't have a face cam. I have no intention of ever having a face cam. But for some reason I still do face cam. Like, sometimes I'm pointing at the screen to point out what I mean, and then I notice and kind of try to explain where it is. I was not being very careful with the laws here, which means I think my laws currently forbid me from fighting. You can still fight fairly well, even if fighting is supposed to be forbidden, because that only applies to the fighting command. So only a standard attack. Using something like fighter tech, for example on my main character using air render, does not count as fighting. So using skills is not the same as fighting. Even though you are using them to fight, in the general sense of the word, this law is very particular. It only refers to the actual fight command, swinging with your weapon. Anything that's a skill, you're allowed to use. And here I was being very scared because that woman can charm. I'm not sure what bow that is, but archers can learn the charm ability. I was quite happy that it missed. Problem is, if she had charmed me, she would have taken over control of my unit, and that might very well have ended with the unit only using the fight command. And that might have gotten my character into jail, which I'm trying to avoid as much as possible. But you can see the double shot ability, even though technically you are fighting, you're firing your weapon, it's not a standard fighting move, so this is not penalized by the law. Also note that that guy over there, that thief, I believe that's the enemy leader. Being a leader unit means he can ignore the law, essentially. He will still get a yellow card if he breaks it, but he will never get a red card. So the way that usually works is you break your first law without killing someone, and you get a yellow card. It's kind of your warning. If you then break a law again in the same fight, you will get a yellow card, which converts into a red card, so 2 yellows in the same fight mean a red card, and you get sent to jail. Now if your first breaking of the law already killed someone, for example, let's say color magic is forbidden and you use a spell, and that spell actually kills someone, then you'll get an instant red card. However, if that spell only hurts someone without killing them, you will get your you'll just get the yellow card. But if you do that again, you get another yellow, and 2 yellows means a red, you go to jail. And the way it works for enemy command units is they can get an infinite number of yellow cards, and they will never get a red card. So They can ignore the law. You still get the animation of the judge going, yeah, you broke the law, and all that, and giving them a yellow card, but they are unaffected by it. Now, if one of my characters were to accumulate a lot of yellow cards, which you can, of course, you can get a yellow card each battle. As long as you don't get 2 in the same battle, you will not be sent to jail. But if you're trying to get rid of those cards, which you can, by basically volunteering to go to jail for a while, it will just take a lot longer and cost you a lot more. I think usually it's an amount of battles. So, for example, let's say my white mage had gotten, I don't know, a yellow card. Let's just say he got 2 yellow cards and then happened to get a red card. However, I don't know, maybe I hit someone and they died. Anyway, let's say that's the case. I could then go to jail and bail them out. I think that costs money. And they would basically be back in my team, but they would still have the penalty of having those 2 yellow and the red card. Which doesn't really mean much. Except you kind of want to get rid of them. I don't know, there's some negative aspect to that I'm just not remembering. Maybe the more cards you get, the higher the penalty. Because when you get a card, you get an instant penalty of some kind. And later on these can be quite severe, like... I dislike when I use the word like as a link. Saying... like I just did. Using the word in its proper sentence, in the proper way to liken one thing to another, that's fine. But just saying it's like really bad or something, I hate that. I try to prevent that wherever possible. Anyway, the penalties for getting yellow and red cards can be fairly severe. You could, for example, end up having some useful items that we haven't got access to yet, but we will soon. Basically, there's items that allow you to influence laws, and they are quite valuable and not necessarily rare, but there's a lot of them, so building up a very specific collection is actually somewhat time-consuming, and it's really annoying when those get taken away from you, and that might well happen if you break the law. And I think the more yellow and red cards you have already accumulated on the character that broke the law, the more severe that punishment is. And you can also get permanent stat decreases, I believe. So again, you don't want that. You don't want your character to be permanently weakened. So yeah, you want to get rid of those cards. And that means you go to the jail and say, you know, I want to get rid of these cards. And they say, okay, well, you can go to jail for a while. And that'll get rid of the cards that you've accumulated. And then depending on how many you have, it'll say, you know, you're out of commission for 3 battles or whatever. And then you have to do 3 battles without that character. You can kind of cheese that system if you feel like it. By going into a battle with a random enemy and instantly fleeing, this counts as a battle. And you can just do that 3 times and you get your character back. If it's a really critical character to you, and you really cannot go on without him basically, then that might actually be something you want to do. I remember on my second playthrough I was doing kind of a low level thing. Not really a challenge run or anything like that, but I didn't do all the side missions. I only did a very small selection of them. Because I wanted to go through the story quickly, basically. And I think I was being careless and my white mage had to go to prison for 3 battles, and without that white mage I was just lost. I couldn't do the battles. So I just went in 3 times, surrendered, and got my guy back. I think I just actually had to use some healing while color magic was forbidden. I believe that was it. And white magic counts as color magic. I don't know, anyway. You can cheese the system a little that way. Okay. And I don't think this was the episode that had the random encounter. I just did a lot of talking in the beginning, that's why it's fairly long. Again, I'm sorry about that. Now I said I'm not going to do the 100% thing. That doesn't mean I'm going to, for example, ignore the easy experience I can get every round using certain tricks. I'm still going to do that pretty much every round unless I forget. But whenever possible, for example, I will try to move my white mage so I heal my white mage and whatever target I actually want to heal. Like you can see here, to get the full experience from that and stuff like that. I've explained those tricks before. I'm still going to be using those. I'm just not going to be trying to grind out all the skills on all the classes. I'm trying to only go for valuable or useful ones, and you know, things like that. And luckily my main guy has air render, which is actually really handy, because it basically deals the same damage as the fight command, but it doesn't count as the fight command, and it's ranged, so it's even better, but I can also use it, well, not at range. It's just kind of handy to have for situations like these. Nom nom nom. Actually, not nom nom nom, more like gulp gulp gulp, maybe? I don't think there is such a thing as nom 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 when referring to drinking. Nom 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 is just easy to say. Nom 3 times fast, it's easy. But gulp, saying that 3 times fast is a little more difficult. And there you can see the enemy does get an infraction. He did just do a normal fighting command. But because he's the enemy leader, he doesn't have to care. The annoying thing is you always get that animation, and the judge will always move right next to the guy that did the infraction. And that's a bit annoying because it can actually make it more difficult for you to reach that enemy, because you can't stand in the same tile as the judge. The judge blocks you. You can't attack the judge or anything like that, but he just kind of stands in the way because the enemy has done something illegal. And you need to and he does get the yellow card. He just doesn't have to care about it. I don't think we will ever have a character that will have that ability. So it only refers to enemies, and since the enemies aren't subject to the same system as we are, they really don't have to care. They don't have to send their guy to jail for a while voluntarily to get rid of the cards or anything like that. So if we had a character like that, we would still have to pay a little attention and try not to break the law all the time. But the enemy, to them, it effectively means they can ignore the law. I just dislike the fact that you still get the animation of the judge, you know, handing out the red card or the yellow card, when it doesn't do anything. And then he's just moved the corpse around. I do believe he also leaves. The judge AI is usually meant to make fighting a little... well, he's meant to give you space. So his AI is either going to move corpses around if he thinks the corpses are too close together. So if there's a bunch of corpses really in a tight group, basically, he will move them around to try and prevent situations where someone's surrounded by 4 corpses and you can't get to them in melee anymore. Stuff like that. My nose itches. Don't itch nose. Thank you. And he's also programmed to try and stay away from combat himself. But if an enemy breaks the law, that initiates him moving to that enemy, and you know, you get that animation where he blows his whistle and hands over the yellow or red card. But then it takes until the next time it's his turn, basically, before he can move away. And then can be a little annoying when he's moved right behind an enemy, for example, or just moved in a position where you would like to be yourself to get a good attack in. It's not terribly common, but it does actually happen. And here, I decided that even though my sharpshooter was slightly damaged, she'd still be fine for another turn or two. And I really wanted the 10 experience, so I just decided to do a completely useless heal. This also gives me judge points, by the way, because it's using color magic, and when fighting is forbidden, color magic is recommended, so you get judge points for using any color magic, even if it's not offensively. Such as it was right now. I used it to heal, but it's still anything from the white magic, red magic, blue magic, black magic. Are those all of them? I think so. There's black and white, there's red, which is kind of a combination, and then there's blue magic, which is using animal abilities. I think that's all of them. And that should be the battle. Wahey. Okay. Again, I apologize for having to do post-commentary. I hope it's still okay. I mean, there's not really much I can do about it anyway, but yeah, in the future I could also just put some music and play back the video at double speed or whatever. Let me know if you'd prefer that, basically. But we did do this mission, we got some clan points and stuff. We also got Phoenix Tails, which is nice. And Sharu failed his mission, I believe, so that's kind of meh. But yeah, that's the end of this episode. Again, I hope you enjoyed anyway. And I guess I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.